Hey y'all, welcome back. I am so sorry. I do apologize for everybody that was on the live at 6 p.m. Central Time. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Uh, I should be embarrassed because I did not have my computer fully charged, so I was just on here just talking, and it died on me. But it's been resurrected though. It's Easter in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? This the resurrection. We back. Um, So I definitely thank you guys for being patient with me. I need to do better. I feel bad. But anyway, so tonight's topic, we're gonna be discussing why is it that men cannot have an opinion about the way that a woman looks. Before I get too deep into that, I do want to put a disclaimer out there so you guys can get a better understanding of how we move in society as women. A lot of times when we have different conversations about um, men and women and the way we express ourselves and the things that we do, a lot of times men mention their masculinity and upholding their masculinity and ways to not feel emasculated and things like that. Like masculinity is a really big deal and it must be protected, right? But when it comes to femininity, it's played with a whole lot. It's looked at as weak. If somebody want to call somebody weak, they'll say you acting like a woman or you acting like a, you know, derogatory word, the B word. I don't want to do too much cussing on here because I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. And matter of fact, since I've mentioned that, make sure if you're watching on YouTube that you have subscribed to the channel. Also, make sure you hit the like button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any notifications when I go live. If you're watching from Facebook, make sure that you have liked the page and you're also following it. That way you'll get the notifications as well. But anyway, so masculinity is something that we are told that we have to protect masculinity at all costs, right? But when it comes to femininity, it's played with. It's looked at something weak. And what a lot of people don't understand is femininity is very powerful. If you're able to work within your true essence, femininity is very powerful. There's nothing weak about femininity. Um, and what a lot of people don't understand is the things that we do as women, the way that we dress, the way that we wear our hair, the different things that we do to adorn ourselves, it's an expression of our femininity. We all are aware that the way that a person dress and things like that is an expression of self. We know that across the board. But when a woman does it, it's an expression of our femininity. It's something we played dressed up and stuff like that when we were little girls. Little boys, y'all played in the mud and with worms, and little boys are gross. Little girls, we want to be cute, we want to be pretty, we want to put on our little makeup, we want to get old enough to wear some lip gloss, polish our nails like our mama, stuff like that. That's an expression of our femininity. If you notice that anytime a woman is going through something or she talk about self-love, she's always doing something to herself, for herself. A lot of women go to do spa days, pamper themselves, or if you're feeling bad, it's like, fix yourself up, do your makeup, do your hair. Those types of things make us feel good as women. It has nothing to do with, us trying to necessarily attract the opposite sex. And a lot of times men receive backlash for talking about the way a woman look, because we know that everything that we do, we're not doing it for your affection. And that's what a lot of men don't realize. We're not presenting ourselves to the world all the time just for your affection. It doesn't work like that. And I think that's the reason why a lot of men receive backlash. Another thing is this: women always talk about their preference in men. and they don't receive any backlash from it. And I'm gonna tell you the difference. I'm gonna tell you the reason why women don't receive backlash. It's because we all know that the average woman want a tall, dark, and handsome man. These are the requirements: tall, dark, and handsome, right? In that, we're not being specific though. We're not saying we want you tall, dark, and handsome. You gotta dress like this. You gotta, have a beard or not a beard, all that kind of stuff. We don't go into how you carry that out. And that's the difference with men. Men don't just say, you know what, I want my woman to be beautiful. They go all into, I want a woman to be beautiful. I want her also wear her hair like this, do this and do this and do this, that, and the third. And they don't have the sense to go look for that one woman that presents herself like that. What they do is start talking to all women, because one man feel like he owns all the women. One man, every single man, this one man who is giving his opinion, that one person, he feel like he owns all the women. So he goes on these different platforms and start talking about how he want a woman to look or whatever, instead of just getting a woman that's already looked the part. And so now you spewing out this foolishness and telling all these women, I don't want no woman to wear makeup. Women shouldn't do that. Like, you should say, I don't want a woman that don't wear makeup. I don't want a woman that wear makeup. I don't want a woman that don't wear weave. Don't be hollering about women shouldn't wear weave and women shouldn't wear makeup, because at that time you acting like you own all the women and you could tell all the women what to do. Just find a woman that is already up to par. Women, we don't do that. We knowing, okay, we want this man. We want him tall, dark, and handsome. Now, if we want to be specific, that's when we vet our mates. We like, okay, I want him tall, dark, and handsome, but I prefer men with a bald head. We don't come on any platforms and start talking about, you know what? No man should wear long hair. No man should wear locks. No man should wear waves. I don't know woman want a man with locks, and don't know woman want a man with waves. We don't do all of that just because our preference is a man with a bald head. We just go find us a handsome man with the bald head. And then we don't take away from the fact that a man that is not necessarily our specific preference is handsome. Even women who prefer a man that's tall, dark, and handsome, or whatever the case may be, she will still acknowledge when there is a man that's maybe short and say, okay, he's handsome. That might not be her personal preference. He might not fit her specifications of what she's looking for or anything like that. But she's able to look at this man and acknowledge, oh, okay, yeah, he is handsome. And that's the difference. Men get caught up in this thing where they just feel like their one ass control all the women. Just because you like something and you want something a certain type of way, that doesn't mean every woman has to conform to that at all. And the way that y'all say it sometimes is mean-spirited. It'll be different if it was like, you know what, sister, you look so good, but you know what, I wonder, I bet you'll look, I bet you'll look good with your hair natural too. Not to say like, but I bet you'll look better with your hair natural, because that still carries a negative connotation. But if you say, you know what, sister, you look real good right now with your makeup on, but I bet you look good as well without it. That's the way you talk to somebody, to encourage them, not to say, well, you don't need to wear no makeup, because like people don't wear makeup for that. we don't wear weaves for that. We do it because it's just we're playing dress up. We're just having fun. We're just expressing our femininity. And really and truly, y'all don't even be caring that much. Because a lot of men will go on these different platforms talking about these women and don't want them to wear weave and makeup, um, and all of that, and still be lusting out of the after the women who do it anyway. So y'all can miss me with that. And it's like y'all try to get us to conform. And I don't really think it's genuine. I really do feel like it's just a way to control. And I think that's the reason why you guys receive backlash. Because I remember once upon a time, especially when I first went natural, I was 19 years old when I first went natural. So this was not trending. There weren't even any products out. Like I looked like an oddball. I actually had family members that told me that I was setting us back 100 years. I had another family member tell me that she didn't want to see me unless I had on a wig because I'm setting us back. I had people to tell me that I let my beauty go, all kinds of things, right? And I remember during that time when I was dating guys, all of them used to be like, I wonder how long your hair is. My hair grow like this, baby. Ain't no sense of you worrying about how long my hair is. I had an afro back then. So I wonder how long your hair is. No, you need to be worrying about how high my hair is. Don't be worrying about how long my hair is because my hair don't grow like this. My hair grow like that. So you could be just worry about how big it is. Fuck you mean. You know what I'm saying? And I had very, 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 very difficult times trying to date and things like that because I get asked all these different questions, look all upside my head. And then there was this group of guys, that would look at me and feel like I was just so confident, and they loved it about me, just the fact that I was, stepping outside the box and I was rocking my natural hair, my afro and things like that. And I remember when things started to transition, where a lot of women started to embrace, embrace their natural hair and everything. And so when women started embracing their natural hair, it's like when the women was wearing, when the women were like wearing the weave and stuff, was trying to branch out of natural hair. Now it's like, oh, I want you to wear the weave and all this old kind of stuff. Then when women start wearing their natural hair, it's like men try to take control of that and make it about them. Women didn't start wearing their natural hair because you said that you don't like weave. A lot of women started wearing their natural hair because the perms was eating out their edges, their hair was falling out. Their mama had crochet braids and box braids and micro braids in their head since they was 3 years old, and so now they got to tell you about how long their hair used to was. So you have these people hair just falling out in handfuls, and so they went natural. You have a lot of women that stopped wearing, makeup and things like that because how it was breaking out their skin. Or some women no longer wanted to live in a box anymore. They wanted to just be free. It just was like, you know what, I don't want to feel like I need to use these things in order to be beautiful. And so they stop, and then here it is. You have these men that'll come in and just make it seem like now all of a sudden it's about them, and now all of a sudden this the standard. This is what y'all need to be doing. Whereas a lot of these women probably won't be natural anyway if y'all standard wasn't at first that you had to have this long Hawaiian silky hair. Matter of fact, it was a product back in the day called Hawaiian Silky. If y'all didn't have that standard back then that you have to have this long Hawaiian silky hair or whatever the case may be, and ate up all her edges, then she probably even wouldn't be natural right now for you to enjoy it anyway, because she'll be still doing what she was doing if it wasn't tearing out all her hair. So you gotta be careful with that. But the difference is we make those different We make those different steps and transitions for ourselves, and men try to make it seem like it's about them, and it's not about them. They don't want men want to be specific about every single thing. Now, on the flip side of it, a lot of people probably gonna get mad at me right by now, but there is a flip side to this, right? And I'm talking about my people. When I have these conversations, I'm talking about my people, right? There is a flip side to this. We live in a society, both black men and women, where we conform to European standards of beauty. And a lot of the things that we did, like even if we go back to, the first inception of us wearing hair weaves and things like that, even when Madam C.J. Walker came out with the hot comb in order to straighten out her hair. For what? No disrespect. But for what though? You come out with this product in order to straighten our hair so we could look more like them. And so for so long, that look became the standard of beauty. And so then it became one of those things where we do use those things in order to express our femininity, because we also in our mind think, as women, this is what makes us look beautiful. This is what makes me look feminine. See, people don't think it's anything like when you have you know, a, just a afro, walking around with your Florida Evans going on or whatever the case may be. People wasn't looking at that like, oh, this is beautiful, or this is feminine. It's a lot of women had a hard time when they were transitioning, and they felt like, I look like a boy, so they'll be like, let me make sure I have me some, the real big hoop earrings and all that. Let me make sure I do beat my face and put on my makeup and things like that, so I can still look like a girl. I can still look feminine and feel feminine, because our hair wasn't something that we equated with femininity, with beauty at all. So we have to take that into consideration as well, that hell, we've been all brainwashed and functioning under the European standards of beauty. So Jazz say to be acceptable. That's correct. So my thing is, I said, let me think about this for a minute. I'm gonna let these men know what's up and how y'all got us messed up and how y'all need to quit doing what y'all doing and let us express ourselves how we want to express ourselves. But maybe, just maybe, they had an awakening too. The same way you had an awakening as a woman, and you realized, even if you realized that you don't need to do these certain things to yourself, and you had to learn it the hard way. You had to learn it because your edges fell out. You had to learn it because your face broke out. You had to learn it the harder way. And then you might pick up a book or something to help you embrace yourself a little bit more, to where you will feel confident, just being your natural self. So now all of a sudden you like, okay, I'm okay with me. And it takes you a while to get there. Maybe during your transitioning and you having this awakening and you becoming more comfortable with you, your men, our men, have become more comfortable with seeing us that way. What if that's the case? What if they have just now, they've seen so many of us break the mold and be like, you know what? I'm going to express myself like this. I'm gonna wear my natural hair. I'm gonna walk out the house sometime without a face full of makeup or whatever the case may be. They just gonna have to accept me how I am. It could very well be a thing where now the men are like, you know what? I like that distinction. I like being able to look at a black woman and see that she's a black woman. I like being able to see that package. I like being able to see that kinky coily hair, or them locks, or that wide nose or big lips, or the strong cheekbones and things like that. Maybe they have gotten to a point where they're able to appreciate the beauty of a Black woman in her rawest form, but they just don't know how to express it. Because there's another thing that I have a problem with, is that us as women, we will most definitely conform to European standards if need be. Women will conform faster than men. We both have these things where our hair is considered unprofessional or whatever. So women will do something like they'll go wear a wig and all this all kind of stuff. So anyway, my point is this: I'm not gonna take y'all through no history lesson or nothing like that, because I'm not gonna be on here too long. Because I was supposed to be on here 30 minutes ago, and this show probably ain't finna be no hour because I got stuff to do. But my thing is, and I'm just gonna talk to the women right now. If you are willing to conform to European standards of beauty, if you are a woman that has natural hair and you go to this establishment and they tell you, after you have grown to love yourself, and they tell you you need to straighten your hair or your hair is unprofessional, I bet you throw you a wig on. I bet you slap your perm up in there. So why is it that if a Black man tell you something, it's a problem? Think about it. You took years to embrace yourself. You took years to embrace yourself. You go to this establishment and these people tell you how to look, and you revert back for them. But why is it when your own men tell you something, you have a problem with it? I've seen people leave leave their mate because they wanted them to look a certain type of way. And it's a difference between asking someone to do something every now and then. Like, I couldn't be with a guy that be like, oh, I don't want you to have locks. Like, baby, I'm not cutting my locks off or whatever. Now, if you want me to curl them sometimes, if you even like them a certain color, I might color them for you. I might curl them for you, but I'm not cutting them. So in that case, I wouldn't even be with a guy that just have a problem out with some locks or whatever the case may be. But my point, and something to think about, and this is just something to think about. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but we have to start taking these things into consideration when we're dealing with each other, about how we are so combative with one another, but we so easily accept what somebody else, what the other people tell us to be. They tell us do something, we do it with no issue. You might hop on social media and talk about how you feel disrespected or whatever, but you're still going to do it. And that's just a bigger conversation. But this particular topic was a segue into that conversation. And I feel like we have to catch up with each other. as black men and black women in this society, we both have a plight that we we suffer through together just from being black. But we also have our own separate plights that we deal with within our own demographic. I don't know how it feels like every day to wake up and be a black man in America. You don't know as a black man how it feels like every day to wake up and be a black woman in America. So even though we have a one plight that we actually suffer through together, we still have our own plights that only affect our demographic, right? And so I really do feel like we need to catch up with each other in our growth spurt. I think we deal with this thing where black women have to get to the point of really respecting and valuing black men, and black men have to get to the point of really respecting and valuing black women and having some patience with each other and knowing how to talk to each other. It'll be so much better if someone were to say, and this is just my thoughts, this is just my thoughts on it. I definitely feel like because so many women fought against the grain and started to wake up and started to accept themselves, and these men couldn't help but to see us in our rawest form, looking like black women are supposed to look, that a light bulb went off in them. They started to be like, you know what, I really do like this. But they just don't know how to express it. I really do feel like black men just don't know how to express it a lot of times. And I want you to know that it is not okay to, talk at us. It's not okay. The way that y'all be talking to us sometimes is absolutely not okay to talk at us. You could talk to us. It's okay to tell us what your preferences are. But to make it seem like every single woman has to conform to your preferences, that's definitely not the case, because you can't have every woman at one time. And the things that we do as women, we're not doing those things solely for your affection. So I think we definitely have to continue to have these types of conversations with each other so we could get a better understanding. Because I don't feel like it's anything wrong for a man that actually is sexually attracted to women, a heterosexual man. I don't feel like it's anything wrong with him having a preference and an idea of how he wants women to look. We know that the standard for a man across the board for women is we want him to be tall, dark, and handsome. We know all men are not going to be tall, dark, and handsome, though. We know all men ain't going to have locks. Some of them go bald. All men ain't going to have waves. All men ain't going to be bald head. All men are not going to dress the way that we want them to dress. So we don't even get into all of that with men. We just size them up when we meet them through the vetting process. That's the only thing we do, just size them up when we meet them. Oh, okay. I like his style. I like his look. And go on. You don't hear women, men need to do this and men need to do that. No, you just say what type of man you like. Men, you have a right to say what type of woman you like. But don't put it out there like every woman has to conform to your personal preference. Because you can't be with every woman in the world at one time anyway. So every woman in the world does not have to conform to your personal preference. But again, we have to think about the reason why we have this disconnect. And we are so quick to dismiss each other. And also not respect what it is that we're saying. We really have to get to the point where we just really learn how to talk to each other. I'm going to tell you something. And I think I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. One of the worst things that happened to us in our community as Black people is social media. I'm going to tell you why. We always had a certain level of, it might not seem like it, but we always had this certain level of respect where we knew men and women do these certain things, and a man stay out of a woman business and a woman stay out of a man's business, right? But what has happened in social media is all of us are here in the space together, giving our opinions, having conversations that we would naturally have around men. There's things that I even say, on social media that if I'm in a group of men, like in person, I ain't gonna the fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that in a group of men. I probably say that stuff like at the salon with my girls. And there's certain things that I'm sure if it was a group of men, they wouldn't say certain things that they say on social media in front of women. The stuff that they say at the barbershop. And what social media has done, it has put us all in the same room together. And we don't have our own separate sacred spaces anymore. Everybody just shooting out their different opinion, because you don't walk around in real life and hear men say stuff about how a woman looking and dressing and whether she wear weave or makeup. You don't hear that in real life. I've never sat around a group of men, and I be around a group of men a lot. My a lot of my different friend circles are co-ed. I have I probably have one friend circle that is not co-ed, and the rest of them are co-ed. If we hanging, it's gonna be men and women together, and that stuff don't come up. Nobody is sitting around talking about that type of stuff because we're respecting each other. We're respecting each other's space, and we know like we don't want the men to hear that, and the men don't want the women to hear that. And I really do feel like social media is one of the worst things that happen. It's a good thing, don't get me wrong, for meeting and talking and to actually get a better understanding. But what it does is, you know how you're cleaning out your closet or you open up a can of worms? See, when you're opening up a can of worms, you need to be able to put a lid on it. When you're cleaning out your closet and you pulling out all the stuff out your closet, it seems like it's worse than how it started, because now you got to figure out like where I need to put this. You need to organize it. You need to compartmentalize. And that's what's happening. Everybody is just pouring out everything they got a problem with. And everybody is all over the place. And won't know where to put it. Won't know what to do with it. You get through having one conversation about somebody complaining about weed, you get to having another conversation about somebody complaining about something else. This other person complain, and all these different complaints from men and women. You can scroll down social media right now. You're gonna see 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different things to talk about, different topics, different you know thoughts that people put out there, their little complaints or venting their frustrations or whatever the case may be. You're going to see that. So we're just all over the place. And that's the reason why I like to be able to have, conversations like this. And that's where we're able to put things into perspective and just keep it where it's at and not bunch all of this different stuff together. I feel like men need to also understand that women are different. We're not we might be rough and tough sometimes, hard on it, but we're still women at the end of the day. And you still have to, the same way that you guys want us to respect y'all when y'all talking to us, I mean, y'all want us to respect y'all when we talking to y'all. Y'all have to respect us when y'all talking to us. You can't talk to a woman like you talk to your homeboy and think she's gonna be able to receive what you're saying. You can't just be rough with a woman like that. And even women, we be rough, but we gonna start to get our feelings hurt if you do it to us. And I know it's a double standard, but it just is what it is. Um, Kojak said, "Men from Mars, women from Venus." Exactly. And we're different in the way that we communicate, in the way that we receive things. You and your homeboys, y'all could talk to each other real rough and real hard and be okay. But a man can't talk to a woman real rough and real hard and think she's gonna receive him. The same way you could tell me if I'm lying. You could be talking to your homeboy real rough and real hard, and y'all cool, y'all dap it up or whatever the case may be, and gone on about your business. But you cannot take a woman talking to you that way, though. Because that's not how men and women are supposed to be communicating with each other. You and your boys, y'all could talk all crazy to each other or whatever. But when you come home or when you around women, you don't want no woman talking to you like that. And the same thing with us. We could be with our girl, be this, her. You know how women talk to each other? But we don't want our man talking to us like that. We don't want men talking to us like that because we can't take that from each other. We see each other differently. We know that there is a difference. So we have to be careful in the way that we talk to each other. And then once we start practicing how to talk to each other, I feel like a lot of these problems that we have will get resolved just by doing that. He say, facts, you got to be gentle with a woman. Exactly. Now you can't be to a point where push over or something like that, because some women go too far. They really do. Some women do go too far. You know what I'm saying? You can't let her just handle you. But all at the same time, the way with this social media and the way that men, tell us certain things is hurtful more so than anything. If you a woman all this time and you guys know how, society is towards women, like we have to, be a certain size, we have to have a certain look, we have to, talk this way, and it's so much that comes with being a woman that has nothing to do with us as a person. Like, people, all the stuff on the outside first, people look at all of the aesthetics before they even start dealing with us as a person. Even the way that we look be determining how a person is just going to start dealing with us as a person. We have all of this stuff that we deal with. So when you have dealt with all this stuff for all these years, just even coming up in school and stuff, and maybe if you are a girl that ain't developed or anything, and boys are not really talking to you, and then you get older and you feel like, oh, you know what, I look good and I look sexy and I'm gonna express myself like this, and then you have these men starting to tell you that ain't the look. It's hard to wrap your mind around it. I don't think people be thinking about that. It'd be hard to wrap your mind around it. I have some people, you really do have women that wear weave and makeup because they're insecure. But if you have somebody that's insecure, do you beat them up for it? Do you make them feel bad for it? Or you try and encourage them to let them know that, you know what, I'm sorry for whatever happened to you, to make you feel like you have to have these things in order for you to be beautiful. But you're beautiful regardless. If this makes you feel comfortable, if this makes you sane, if this makes you feel empowered in order to wake up and step into the world every day, if this is what you need to do, then I'm going to support you in that. I'm going to hold your hand. And hopefully throughout this process of us interacting with each other, maybe you'll start to realize and see the things that I see in you. Because just because a person is insecure or lack confidence, it doesn't mean that they are a bad person. They could be good to you. They're just a little bit too hard on themselves. So don't be careful with like attacking certain things like that, because you never know. Like, yeah, we're not doing things just for your affection, but all at the same time, there are some women just doing it just for their own sanity. Just period. Some of the most dialed up bad bitches and all that you see, especially think about a woman that goes and sign her life off to lay on the table to look a certain type of way. That's the reason why I never talk down on a woman getting a surgery. You know how, let me see I want to be careful. You want to know how much this person is dealing with up here for them to feel like, regardless of what you say, regardless of how beautiful you think they are, do you understand what this person could be dealing with up there for them to go sign off to lay on the table to get cut up to look a certain type of way? And it's not because of what you think about them a lot of times, because of what they think of themselves. So we just have to be a little bit more compassionate when dealing with each other. Toe just said, make me think of the India Ari song. Is it I'm Not My Hair? Is that the song? I'm Not My Hair? Is that the song you're talking about? Yeah. We definitely have to have more patience and understanding with each other. We really do. And two things could be true at one time. Yes. Um, we need to be careful on how we talk to each other, and we need to be allow people to express themselves how they want to express themselves. And sometimes these men go a little bit too far with telling all the women on how they need to look, instead of just going to find that one particular woman that's up to par with what they're looking for. Yes, that's something that's true. They need to do that too. But we also need to take a look at, why is it that when a black man tell us something, we got a problem with it, but we ain't got no problem with the white man telling us something, and we'll hurry up and conform to what the hell he just said. So we need to look at that too. All those layers need to be pulled back. He said, talk to her. I don't think I heard that one. I'm gonna have to listen to it. I used to listen to it in the Yari, but just not like that or whatever. That I probably know the song. I just don't know I can't think of the melody right now. That man's name, fuck y'all talking about. That name is hilarious. I love that name. He say facts. That is so dope. Fuck y'all talking about. That's dope. That name is dope. Thank y'all for joining me too. Make sure y'all have subscribed to the YouTube channel and turned on the notification bell. And if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you have liked and follow the page. That way that you'll receive the notifications. Oh, Mr. Bruce. Hey, Mr. Bruce. Thanks for stopping by. That's Mr. Bruce right there. He's something else. Love me some Mr. Bruce. But yeah, we definitely just have to do better. We gotta do better. You would have a name like that. But yeah, we gotta do better with how we just interact with each other. We have to have some patience with each other. We've been through a lot. We've been through a whole lot as a people, and we have to understand that a lot of the things that we deal with is not our fault. But I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of us use this history of ours as a scapegoat. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. I had got a certain age and I was just mad as hell because, I had got big and all of that, and I had to go stay with my grandma. She cooking me greens and cornbread, beans and shit. And down south, like it's at that time it was like, you wanted to, you supposed, if you're not big, you were sick. They said you had AIDS, fat was in, down south. Um, but when I had got older, I used to be so mad, and I used to be like, these people, I used to blame. I wouldn't do certain things. I used to just blame it. I used to just be talking about, maybe this, all this wishful thinking, and talk about my childhood and what they did when I was a kid, what they did when they were supposed to be responsible for me when I couldn't be responsible for myself, and what happened to me. Let me tell you something. Once you get to a certain age, you just need to go to goddamn therapy. You're just gonna have to go ahead and go to therapy, because regardless of what happened to you when other people were supposed to be responsible for you, once you get grown, you got to deal with it. You still got to fix it at the end of the day. Talking about what they did is not going to solve your issue. Talking about blaming it on my mom and them because I had to go stay with my grandma, and every time I came home from school, I was eating soul food or whatever the case may be, and then nobody make me go play because I want to sit up and read books, and I got fat. I can't be 35 years old talking about what my grandma and them did and what they made me eat. And with all this knowledge and understanding that I got now, my ass, if I got a problem with it, I need to do something about it, right? I can't talk about what they did no more. Now it's my responsibility to fix it. Is it fair? No, I don't feel like it's fair. I don't feel like it's fair that I was raised with unhealthy eating habits. No, it wasn't fair at all. It wasn't fair that we had to deal with the situations that we had to deal with in this society. It's not fair that we have a disadvantage. It's not, none of the shit that happened to us is fair, right? But we can't keep on talking about, oh, whoa, it's me and what they did to me, and feel like we ain't gotta fix shit. Yes, I understand. It's not your fault that we're having this disconnect. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a responsibility to fix it. All these people done woke up and they understand the history and what happened to us and all this old type of stuff. You done read every book that you can read, from Niggas to God, the Black Civilization, and Message to the Black Man. You done read all this shit. You know your history. You know you was lied to. You know you were brainwashed. You wake up every day without anybody telling you, you know you fucked up out here, right? But at the end of the day, unfortunately, it's still your responsibility to fix it. Not society, but it's your responsibility to fix what's going on in your community now. It's unfortunate, but it's inevitable. Charisma said, if you stay stuck on it for too long, you'll become whoever it is that you're mad at. Exactly. You'll definitely become whoever it is that you're mad at. And you see it. You see it a lot. And I really do hate to say it, because I've said this time and time again, and I've tried to make cross reference things, that a lot of times Black men treat us like white men treat them. No fault of theirs. Don't get me wrong. But that's exactly what happened. Mr. Bruce say it becomes your fault when you don't take steps to correct yourself. Exactly. If you dwell in it and you keep on trying to make excuses for it when you know better, you do better. I look like a damn fool at that. I don't even talk about that. I'm talking to y'all about it because I have to put things into perspective and kind of walk you through my thought processes with things because I'm doing the actual show here. I don't mention it. I look like a damn fool. That's like somebody that got a 10-year-old talking about they baby made them fat. Ma'am, stop it. Charisma say, we think that we don't have to fix it. They should. Yes, they should, but they've already proven that they won't. So then we start to think that we are punishing and scaring them by damaging and disrespecting ourselves. Exactly. And another thing that I'm gonna say too is when it comes to society as a whole and the things that we deal with society as a whole, I do feel like, yeah, it is still certain things that they need to fix. All of these different laws and stuff like that. Yeah, stuff like that they need to fix. Unfortunately, how we've been damaged as a community as it pertains to how we deal with each other, they can't fix that anyway if they tried to. Who in the hell gonna listen to a white person tell us what we should be doing with each other? Nobody's gonna listen to that. They can't. They created a problem, but at the end of the day, we have to be able to identify their problem, know that we're not each other's enemy, and we have to put forth the effort in order to resolve some of these issues. And it's gonna take a long time. And and the way, and I want people to understand something. You have to be mindful that the results of these things might not be how you want them to look. We don't know how this thing is going to look once we get to the other side. Everybody walk is different. We even have a thing in our society where we tell each other how to be black, how to be woke. You can't tell people how to express their blackness or how to express the knowledge that they have. You can't tell people how it's going to look for, the men and women to interact with each other with a certain level of respect, because I feel like everybody kind of pretty much finds their tribe. And I think that's what we're doing here as a lot of people waking up. People are finding their tribes, like-minded people who think like them and everything, where they're able to create some type of culture within these subgroups. So we have to not be anticipating how the end result of this is going to look, because it's no telling, and that is going to be something that is going to be different for everybody. But we have to just acknowledge the fact that we do need to do better at the end of the day. But I don't want to be on here too long because I was supposed to be on here earlier anyway. But again, it's okay for men to have their preference. It's okay. I even think it's okay if you're dealing with someone that you really, really like and they doing something that you just can't stand. And it's not changing who they are. Um, I'll give y'all a instance. When I was with my first fiance, this guy was very particular. Oh my God, he was very particular. Like, he was like one of them OCD dudes. Like, we'll get into it about he was the one that found stuff for me in the house. Like, I'm a little junky, you know what I'm saying? Like, I might leave my shoes, they might be right there in the middle of the floor, or whatever the case may be. He's the type, everything got to be organized. The green beans and the canned goods got to be lined up a certain type of way. He was just like real overboard, and I wasn't even finna play into that, baby. If you want to line these green beans up in this cabinet, then do you. But I'm not lining up canned goods or whatever. But he was very, very, very particular in how he wanted things. And um back then, sometimes I would wear these I don't even forget what it's called. It was this ponytail. It was a weave. It was like a weave that I wear. My hair was natural, but sometimes I would wear this weave. there was like a curly ponytail. A lot of you girls probably see it used to be like it made the ponytail just do like this. It was like that weave. And I used to wear that weave. He didn't like it. So what he'll, and I used to sometimes wear this puff to just add to my natural hair. I already had, my afro, but then I pull it back and then I just put a puff on it. Instead of him being like, I don't want you to wear that weave or anything like that. I remember one day he was like, you know what, baby? He was like, you be looking cute or whatever with that ponytail that you be wearing. He said, but I really like that puff. That puff, man, you look so good in that puff. And every time I wear that puff, he be, oh, you look so good. And even though he probably didn't want me to wear the puff either, but it resembled my natural hair. It looked just like my natural hair. It just made my natural hair look fuller, right? I stopped wearing he never asked me to stop wearing the thing. He just was just so hyped up about the puff to where I was just like, shoot, babe, like this, I'm finna wear this puff. I started getting them in different colors and everything like that. Baby, you can't tell me nothing in my little puff because, babe, he likes seeing this puff. And just for him talking to me like that, it made me be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna wear this puff. So sometimes if you want to get something out of somebody, sometimes you have to use a little bit of sugar, a little bit of honey, sometimes a little bit of reverse psychology. You just can't be coming at our throat, especially you some random guy. We don't know you. We don't care if you like us or not. You sitting up here coming down the timeline telling us about what your preferences are as if we're for you. As if you could have every woman in the world at one time. We don't care when you come to us like that. Just have, a lot of people have this mindset where they want to tear you down to build you up. That's counterproductive. You're making it harder for yourself. If you want to tear something all the way down and building it back up, you're making it hard for you and the other person. That's just pure foolishness to me. Start with something good that you got. If you got this site that you're building on and you got something good on this site that you could work with, don't you tear that up too? Use that, preserve that. So if you in order to, in the way that you do that, when it as it pertains to this conversation, it's like, you know what, I like this about you, and I also like this as well. You have to be positive when you're speaking to people. Got to make sure that you're being positive. You can't get nothing out of nobody talking to them crazy and just telling them what to do. And like I say, you never know what it takes for a person to get up and do certain things and why they do it. You don't know what they deal with. So you just got to be very careful. But it's like I say, it is okay for you guys to have your preferences. Just don't be coming to us with all of the specifics or anything if you're not going to say anything encouraging and you're going to use a negative tone and you're going to say it in a way to demean us and make it seem like everything about us is all the way wrong. Nothing is right until we conform to what it is that you're saying. And as Black women, we also have to start thinking about why is it that we have such an issue when our Black men are coming to us and they're telling us something. Why is it that we have such an issue? Those are some things for us to talk about. And maybe I have that conversation at a later time about, why Black women, take issue a lot of times when a Black man is trying to instruct them on something, but they'll take instruction and guidance from white men. But anyway, thank y'all so much for rocking out with me tonight. I definitely appreciate the love, the support, the participation, the comments, all that. It keeps me going. If you haven't already, make sure that you have liked and followed the Facebook page if you're watching for Facebook. And make sure you're following and liking Deaths of the Asia. That's the show, Deaths of the Asia. I am still currently streaming on the Locked and Loaded page, just so I can still reach the audience that's out there. But that's not my show. It's not a show. It's just the hub that I'm using because we had already established that platform or whatever. But make sure that you have liked and followed Deaths of Deasia on Facebook, and then also on YouTube. Make sure that you have subscribed and turn on the notifications. Even if you're sharing it, if you want to share my content on Facebook, I prefer that you share it from Deaths of Deasia, because that is my actual show. Locked and Loaded page is just a hub, that I still use to share content. It's just like for promotional purposes more so than anything. It's not a show no more for me. You know what I'm saying? So definitely make sure that you have subscribed. And again, thank y'all so much for joining me. I am about to tune out. Y'all have a good night. Bye bye. Glad to stop on computer and shut down on me this time.